A fiery standoff RPG versus car thieves. A quiet suburban street, birds chirping, then chaos. The tranquility of the neighborhood is shattered in an instant. Three figures, hooded and swift, descend upon a parked car. Their movements are calculated, their intentions clear. They think they have the upper hand, but they are about to be proven wrong. The owner, witnessing the attempted theft, bursts from his home, not with a homeowner's plea, but with a weapon straight out of a Michael Bay film, an RPG. It's a sight that would make even the most seasoned action hero pause. The street erupts in fire and fury. The explosion is deafening, a dramatic punctuation to the unfolding drama. Flames lick the air, and the once quiet street is now a scene of utter chaos. The would-be thieves, shocked and outmatched, scatter like startled gazelles. Their plan, meticulously crafted, falls apart in the face of such unexpected resistance. The man, adrenaline surging, stands triumphant, his message clear. Don't mess with his ride. His stance is one of defiance, a modern-day warrior protecting his domain. News travels at the speed of social media, and soon the world is captivated by the RPG man. Tweets, posts, and shares spread the story like wildfire, each retelling more dramatic than the last. The incident, captured on a neighbor's security camera, becomes an instant viral sensation, sparking debates about vigilantism, gun control, and the sheer audacity of using a rocket launcher to protect a vehicle. The footage is replayed countless times, each viewing more surreal than the last. The incident is a potent cocktail of absurdity and alarm. It's a story that seems too wild to be true, yet here it is, unfolding in real time. It's both comical and concerning, a stark reminder of the strange times we live in, where reality seems to borrow liberally from the most outlandish action flicks. The line between fiction and reality blurs, leaving us to wonder what could possibly come next.
When keeping it real goes wrong, reads one tweet, accompanied by a photoshopped image of the RPG man riding a rocket-powered car.
GTA just got too real, quips another, with a screenshot of a similar scene from the popular video game.
The internet, never one to let a good story go to waste, explodes. Memes are born, hashtags trend, and the court of public opinion convenes, with opinions as diverse and explosive as the incident itself. The incident becomes a cultural touchstone, a meme for our times. It's a bizarre blend of humor and horror, a reflection of our desensitization to violence through media and our fascination with the extreme. The online reaction is a fascinating study in itself. It reveals our collective anxieties about crime, our obsession with spectacle, and our tendency to find humor in the most unexpected places. It also highlights the power of the internet to shape narratives, amplify voices, and turn ordinary individuals into overnight sensations, for better or for worse. The incident ignites a firestorm of debate about self-defense, gun control, and the limits of acceptable force. Was the RPG man justified in his actions, or did he cross a line? Proponents of the Second Amendment rally behind him, hailing him as a folk hero, a symbol of the right to bear arms and protect one's property. They argue that the threat was real, the response justified, and the outcome a testament to the deterrent power of firearms. Opponents, however, condemn his actions as reckless, disproportionate, and a danger to public safety. They argue that using such a weapon in a residential area was irresponsible and could have had disastrous consequences. The incident forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about the line between self-defense and vigilantism, about the escalation of violence, and about the consequences of living in a society saturated with images of guns and aggression.
Legal experts weigh in, dissecting the nuances of self-defense laws, the definition of reasonable force, and the potential consequences of the RPG man's actions. They debate the legality of owning and using such a weapon, the potential charges he could face, and the likelihood of a successful self-defense plea.
Criminologists analyze the incident through the lens of crime and punishment, deterrence and escalation. They examine the motivations of both the would-be thieves and the RPG man, the social and economic factors that contribute to property crime, and the effectiveness of different crime prevention strategies. The incident becomes a case study, a springboard for discussions about responsible gun ownership, the role of law enforcement, and the complex relationship between fear, anger, and the urge to protect what's ours. The incident also raises questions about the influence of video games and violent media on our behavior.
Critics argue that the RPG man's actions are indicative of a culture desensitized to violence, where the lines between fantasy and reality are blurred, and where real-life scenarios are treated like levels in a video game.
They point to the prevalence of first-person shooter games, the glorification of violence in movies and TV shows, and the easy access to weapons and tactical gear as contributing factors to a society where such an incident could occur.
Others, however, caution against drawing a direct causal link between video games and real-life violence.
They argue that while media can influence our perceptions and attitudes, it's just one of many factors that shape our behavior, and that focusing solely on video games ignores the complex interplay of social, economic, and psychological factors that contribute to criminal behavior. Section 6, a cultural moment, memes, morality, and the power of the absurd. The incident, despite its serious undertones, becomes a cultural moment, a shared experience that unites us in our collective bewilderment and amusement.
Memes proliferate, jokes abound, and the RPG man, for better or for worse, achieves a strange kind of notoriety. His story, a potent blend of absurdity and alarm, resonates with the public increasingly accustomed to the bizarre and the unexpected.
It becomes a parable for our times, a reflection of our anxieties about security, our fascination with spectacle, and our tendency to find humor in the darkest of places.
The incident, in its own strange way, reveals something about us, about our capacity for both outrage and amusement, about our ability to find humor in the face of absurdity, and about the power of the internet to turn the mundane into the extraordinary.
Section 7. Beyond the laughter, examining the roots of vigilante justice. While the internet revels in the spectacle, it's important to look beyond the memes and the laughter and examine the underlying issues that the incident exposes. The humor and viral nature of these memes often mask deeper societal problems that need addressing. It's easy to get caught up in the entertainment value, but we must not lose sight of the real-world implications and the human stories behind these events.
The RPG man's actions, however extreme, stem from a very real fear of crime, a sense of vulnerability, and a perceived lack of adequate protection from law enforcement. This fear is not unfounded. Many communities feel abandoned by those sworn to protect them. The rise in crime rates in certain areas only exacerbates this fear, leading individuals to take drastic measures. The RPG man's story is a manifestation of this growing anxiety and the lengths to which people will go to feel safe. His story, though unique in its execution, taps into a broader societal anxiety about safety and security, a growing distrust of institutions, and a desire for swift, decisive justice. This distrust is often fueled by high-profile cases of corruption, inefficiency, and perceived bias within the justice system. Communities are increasingly feeling the need to take matters into their own hands, believing that traditional methods of law enforcement are failing them. This sentiment is echoed in community meetings, protests, and even in the way neighborhoods organize themselves for self-protection.
This incident then becomes a lens through which to examine the roots of vigilantism, the allure of taking the law into one's own hands, and the dangers of such an approach. Vigilantism can offer a false sense of security and justice, but it often leads to more chaos and violence. The allure lies in the immediate sense of control and action, but the long-term consequences can be dire. It's crucial to understand why people are drawn to this path and what societal changes are needed to address these underlying issues.
The RPG man's story, though extreme, is a stark reminder that beneath the surface of our seemingly ordered society lies a current of unrest, a simmering frustration with perceived injustices, and a willingness in some cases to resort to extreme measures to protect oneself and one's property. This unrest is not just about crime, it's about a broader sense of disenfranchisement and a feeling that the system is rigged against the average person. The extreme actions of individuals like the RPG man highlight the urgent need for systemic change and a re-evaluation of how we address crime and justice in our society.
Section 8. The price of going viral: fame, infamy, and the legal aftermath. The RPG man's 15 minutes of fame, however, come at a price. Thrust into the spotlight, he becomes both hero and villain, a symbol of both Second Amendment rights and reckless vigilantism.
His life, once ordinary, is now under a microscope. His actions dissected and debated by legal experts, social commentators, and armchair philosophers alike. The legal ramifications of his actions are complex and far-reaching. He faces a battery of charges, from illegal possession of a firearm to reckless endangerment.
His case becomes a legal battleground, a test of the limits of self-defense laws and the right to bear arms. The incident serves as a cautionary tale about the double-edged sword of viral fame, the fleeting nature of online notoriety, and the very real consequences that can accompany even the most absurd and seemingly victimless acts. Section 9, RPG Man and the Future, a cautionary tale or a harbinger of things to come. The RPG Man's story, though seemingly an isolated incident, raises broader questions about the future of our society. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality that our world is more interconnected and fragile than we might like to admit. Is this an anomaly, a bizarre blip in the fabric of our collective reality? Or is it a harbinger of things to come, a sign of a society teetering on the brink of chaos, where the unexpected becomes the norm and the unimaginable becomes reality? Where fear and frustration reign supreme, and where the lines between right and wrong, justice and vengeance become increasingly blurred? In such a world, the very foundations of our communities are at risk, and the social contracts that bind us together are tested to their limits. The incident, in its absurdity, serves as a potent reminder of the fragility of our social fabric, highlighting how quickly order can dissolve into chaos. It underscores the importance of vigilance and the need to address underlying issues before they erupt into full-blown crises. The ever-present potential for chaos and the need for open dialogue, reasoned debate, and a collective commitment to finding peaceful, equitable solutions to the challenges that confront us. It is a call to action for communities to come together, to listen, and to work towards a common good. The RPG Man's story, though often told with a chuckle and a shake of the head, is ultimately a story about us, about our shared humanity and the choices we make in the face of uncertainty, about the choices we make, the fears we harbor, and the future we collectively create. It is a reflection of our times, a mirror held up to society, challenging us to be better, to strive for a world where such incidents are not just rare but unthinkable.